Oh, there you go. Oh, it's on. Good. Good to go. All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to our 2024 annual meeting. And we've got some business to cover and some annual reports to go through. I'm glad to see some of our community folks and employees signing in and getting caught up on all the great things that have happened over the last year. And so I just want to call this to order, and we'll start and welcome everyone. And then we'll start with a round of introductions of who's in the room here today. So why don't we start right over here? Kevin.
Gabby Connor, Marketing Manager with Mount Ashland.
I'm Andrew Gass. I'm the General Manager for Mount Ashland.
And I'm Mary Smelser, the President of the Board.
I'm Annie Jenkins and the Secretary of the Board.
Kurt Burrell, past President of the Board.
Brian Beatty, candidate for the board.
I'm Tiffany Smelser, the Philanthropy and Partnerships Director.
Brian Dunnigan, Facilities Co-Chair.
Adam Reese, I'm the Vice President of the Board.
Catherine Cato, Board Member.
Jane Andreanova, potential board member and also finance and environmental committee member.
Tanya Clark, Finance and Administration Manager.
Ray Millett, Chair of the Environmental Sustainability Committee.
Valerie Williams, Treasurer and Chair of the Finance Committee.
Blair Moody, been on the board for 24 years. I'm the Chair of the Development Committee.
And he's our mayor.
Alan Purdy, I'm a board member for about the last 8 years.
Okay, good. I just want to point out to you guys, the camera is right over here, so. Oh, I'm sorry, Emily. Yeah, hey, Emily.
Emily Cherished, I'm the Director of Guest Services. And the 2 online. Pardon? And the 2 online, 3 online.
Okay, let's introduce who we've got online. Deb Reed, you're on mute.
Yeah, I just had to unmute myself. Sorry, I'm calling in from Pacific City. Sorry I can't be there with you guys. So, Jeb Reed, board member for 1 year. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Trip Androy, board member.
And Riley.
Riley McGraw, also a board member and chair of the ad hoc summer or Four Seasons committee.
Thanks, Riley. And I'll just, the camera is up this way, so when we're speaking, whoever's in the back, the other ones can back just a little so that the speaker can be. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. We have some reports and reports to give, and then towards the end of the meeting, we do want to invite anyone who's our guests here today from the community or employees. If you have any questions, I believe there's a question box. You can type those in at any time, and Gabby will try to do some live answering of the simple questions if she can handle those. And then we'll bring the ones that aren't answered, we'll bring those forward towards the end of the meeting and try to get you some answers. If things are complicated topic areas, we may not be able to address everything that people have questions about. This is kind of meant for a kind of a quick overview of things. In addition to after all the reports and some of our board business, we will have a time for public comment. And so if you at any time feel like you want to get in the queue to present some information or make some comments to the board, again, just make note of that in the comment box, and Gabby will keep a queue together so that we'll try to build in some time at the end of the meeting to allow for some community comments. All right, and with that, I think we'll go ahead and get started with Andrew and his manager report.
All right. We had a great fall last year preparing for the season. including our staff orientation before Thanksgiving and the winter kickoff party in early December. But after a frustrating cycle of snow, rain, and warm temperatures in December, the mountain finally opened for the winter season on Thursday, January the 11th. The loss of our holiday season amounted to 26 lost days of operation during the most critical period of our revenues. That accounts for 29% of our season. When we did open, we had 34 inches on the lower stake and had a very busy first day with 2,548 visitors. Opening day did bring some challenges when the hydraulic tension system on the Windsor chairlift failed the night before opening. After only 25 inches of snow falling in December, with no snow on the ground on December 31st, we only received an additional 25 inches in January, and we ended January with only a 34-inch base on the lower mountain. In total, we were open for 60 days and 20 nights, and we opened for night skiing on Saturdays in January and February for the first time in many years. Total skier visits were 95,944, only 5% below the 5-year average, despite losing the entire holiday period. The busiest day of the winter was February 17th, which was Bavarian night, with 2,744 day and 2,468 night visits. We were closed 2 additional days for wind compared to 4 days last winter. Aerial did not operate on 5 additional days compared to 5 in 18-19 and 22-23 and 6 in 16-17. Total snowfall for the year was 215 inches. The first snow fell on October 25th with just 2 inches. It snowed an additional 37 inches through the end of November, but it melted during all those warm cycles. The largest snowfalls were on January 10th and March 2nd with 11 inches each on those days. And the largest storm cycle this winter was February 29th and March 4th, during which 34 inches of snow fell. Guest response to grooming was very high, a result of new equipment and improved staff training. Our mountain operations team placed a greater emphasis on quality grooming on a variety of terrain, including adding pistol and bottom into the schedule more frequently. Ski patrol performed well this season, even when operations were hectic. However, patrol continued to see increased violation of avalanche closures and infractions of the uphill policy and reported increased guest behavior issues. This is unfortunately an industry-wide phenomenon, but it's exacerbated for us given our expert terrain and very small footprint. We did launch a new shuttle service late in the season thanks to a grant from Travel Oregon. It was not heavily utilized, possibly due to the late launch, but it will be available at the start of the upcoming season. Our shuttles appear to have a high demand but low usage, so this season we will be evaluating the viability of operating this internally. Lift operations and maintenance did an excellent job. The team continues to gain experience and work through challenges with rime ice, drifting snow, and high winds, all with older infrastructure. Winds exceeding 100 miles an hour were recorded as storms this season. Total downtime of the lifts was minimal, with Sonnet closed 1 day, Homer 1 day, and Windsor 1 day for repairs. The entire ski area was closed 1 day due to a Pacific power outage, and also forced to close early the day prior when we lost power in the middle of operations. All chairlift passengers were unloaded within 15 minutes during that power outage. We hosted 1,177 school children and provided them with 4,708 lessons, and we awarded 187 youth scholarships. We closed for the winter on Sunday, April 14th, which was our initially scheduled closing date. The last day was determined as attendance began to drop and expenses exceeded revenues consistently. The total regional economic impact of Mount Ashland for the past year is estimated at $7.3 million, which includes hotel stays, restaurant visits, and purchases. Our guest survey feedback for the winter was very positive, rating all categories as good, great, or excellent. The top rated items were safety and overall experience, and chairlifts, train parks, food, and lessons were rated lowest as good. The new Recreation and Events Department resurrected former events on the mountain, including the Rail Jam, Winter Kickoff Party, and Pond Skim. A primary focus over the past year has been the well-being and care of our employees. We invested a great deal in increasing the wages of our team. The average wage per employee was 7.96% higher this year than the year before. We also created a new human resources and employee wellness specialist to serve our staff better and established a benefits plan for our seasonal managers and supervisors. We have also focused on establishing a strong staff infrastructure for our growth, creating new marketing manager and finance and administration manager positions. This season, we began to manage uphill access in response to the increased conflicts with our ability to operate. We developed a plan that allowed us to continue offering uphill access in cooperation with our attorneys, insurance, and the U.S. Forest Service. The specific geography of our mountain does make uphill access more impractical than at many other mountains. Although this plan was not a one-size-fits-all solution, our focus is on providing access for beginning touring skiers looking to learn in a familiar environment and endurance athletes looking for a winter workout venue, with focus on designated routes during the early morning hours. Our uphill access program does not focus on powder or backcountry access due to the very limited acreage in the ski area, the type of terrain in it, and the availability of true backcountry that is accessed from our back parking lot. The uphill access program had 143 pass holders this last season. The total number of season pass holders for lift operations last season was 4,463, and the spring sale for the upcoming 24-25 season has been the largest in the mountain's history. Our renewed focus on philanthropy and partnerships has provided growth in sponsorships and charitable gifts. Our donor retention over the past year improved from 15% to over 57%. We opened again this summer for 12 weekends, starting on June 14th. Summer operations were successful, consisting of modest family events, music, and kids programming to drive our cafe operations. New this year, we launched an alpine adventure camp, which are day camps for kids ages 8 to 13, and we had 31 children participate. This month, we are launching a new Halloween-themed event called The Haunting on Mount Ashland, which will have both kids trick-or-treat and a more mature, scary option. The more frightening program is already sold out. For next year, we are looking at more events, including the possibility of an Oktoberfest celebration. This fall, we will resurrect the 7,500 crew and youth summer service programs as a new exploring post, which will serve as a hands-on job shadowing experience for students ages 16 to 20, and the open house for that program will be on November 5th. This year, we began working with the Forest Service and the Epley Center for Parks and Public Lands in a pilot program to develop accessibility standards for ski areas. This program should help us identify possible solutions to make our winter and summer operations more accessible to the public. And the National Ski Areas Association is interested in using this study to create national best practices for the industry. This off-season has been one of the biggest summers of projects in the history of the mountain. We are nearing completion of the Lithia chairlift, which will reopen the Palma and Lupine slopes as easily skiable intermediate terrain. The addition of this new chairlift will improve the beginner and family experience, as well as skier flow and congestion. Plus, this adds another more wind-resistant chair to our fleet. The Lithia chair is anticipated to open to the public in January. We have also widened aisle 2 to twice its previous width, which will improve the accessibility to the base area for novice skiers and snowboarders. It's important to note that both of these projects were funded entirely by charitable gifts. We are also replacing our entire night lighting system, a project that will be completed for the winter, and have plans to add new trails to our terrain that is lit at night. Our crew has been busy on many other projects, including rebuilding the bar deck, installing ice melt systems on the lodge roof, replacing carpet, electrical upgrades, a new kitchen exhaust fan, permanent doors on First Act, and a new communication line on Sonnet. During these projects, we are also working to upgrade our network and connectivity on the mountain and launch a mobile app to replace our antiquated text messaging system. We have also replaced 2 of our older trucks, and we have 2 new snowmobiles to add to the fleet coming in the next few weeks. We have begun planning for a comprehensive rebuild of the Locker Lodge in the future that will include improvements to ski patrol facilities, additional food and beverage, and improved inside space for guests. We have also started the process to think about replacing the Ariel and Windsor chairlifts as their operating expenses increase and more modern technology is available. These projects are part of a much larger 10-year capital vision with our master development plan to revitalize infrastructure, improve guest service capacity, and modernize operations without impeding the soul and vibe of Mount Ashland. This is the initiative that we've been referring to publicly as Elevate Mount Ashland. Hiring has begun for our winter season, and all of our manager roles have been filled. We are ready for employee orientation in November, and our target opening day is currently December 14th, but we will open as soon as the snow flies. For the upcoming season, we will be open daily during the December holidays and then Thursday through Monday until the end of March and long weekends in April until closing day. We will also open on Wednesday, March 5th, while we are hosting the Oregon High School Alpine Championships. We are studying options for operating schedules in the future, but we're keeping in mind our responsibilities in relation to fiscal stewardship. We are excited about our continued growth, with the past 2 years being the first time in our history that we have had 5-year averages of more than 100,000 skiers. We owe a great deal of gratitude to our pass holders, sponsors, donors, volunteers, employees, community, and everyone who has been part of the success in our vision to make Mount Ashland the year-round hub for alpine recreation in Southern Oregon.
Wow, it's quite a report. Thank you. Yeah. So it was a very busy year, a lot going on. So thank you, Andy. Last season had some big challenges with the low snow and late start. And I really feel, and the board does too, that Andrew and all the staff at Mount Ashland just really worked their butts off and took extraordinary efforts to keep our season together and make it the success that it was, given that it was such a slow start. And we really appreciate too all the support we had from the community, and everyone was anxious to get out there, and everyone showed up and enjoyed what we had and made the best of everything we could there. So when I started as president this last October, I picked 4 areas that were important to me and for the board to put some emphasis to. And so I want to reflect on those a little bit. Andrew really covered a lot of the details, and you'll kind of see how they fit into the 4 areas. The first one was celebrate our 60th anniversary and elevate Mount Ashland. That was the theme that we developed. Mount Ashland is 60 years old, and so is much of our infrastructure. So as Andrew mentioned, this was the most ambitious set of projects, indeed, that project improvements and heavy maintenance that we took on. And so that kept our staff really busy this summer and got most all of it done. Some of it's still underway, but man, what an accomplishment to get all that done. I think when I first started on the board 7 years ago, I think we started that. We had a few wish list projects, and then a few top priority projects, and I think we had a top 5. Then we evolved that into a 3-year plan, evolved that to a 5-year plan. And I think that's where we needed to be, is to really have an out-year look of where we're going, what are the things we need to be working on our aging infrastructure and what we need to replace. And this year, we've expanded that with the help of staff and the talented community folks who have helped us, and this board. We're looking at a 10-year capital investment improvement plan. And I think that's just going to be great. We work with the Forest Service. The Scaries, all of you know, is on Forest Service land, and the big projects take quite a bit of review and approval process with the Forest Service. So having a 10-year plan is really going to help us integrate our planning and their planning and kind of get on the same page to get to the end result where we can have timely approvals and get our projects implemented in a timely manner. In addition, I think, as many of you know, these projects are very expensive, and we rely predominantly on donations and grants and those sorts of things, and donors and sponsors to contribute to our improvements. So, and it takes time to bring success to the development needs that we envision for Mount Ashland over the next 60 years. So another goal that we have and we're working on is to build a more detailed out-year project planning schedule. So it's one thing to have the list of the projects we want to do over the next 10 years, but we really need to chunk that out into, you know, the first phases and the developmental phase, and then the more detailed planning. So we're trying to get into that more detailed process. We have a number of committees that we'll hear reports from soon, and each of the committees are right now in the process of reviewing their goals and themes and setting up some new goals, and those will be reviewed by the board when those are completed in the next month or so. Let's see. Okay, so the second area was continue to provide excellent customer service to our skiers, riders, and community. And I think we've, as Andrew mentioned, even in a slow year, we worked really hard to provide the best experience that we could. And we're continuing to look at our 4 seasons and summer uses and see what kinds of activities and projects the community would enjoy up there. I think we're doing pretty well there. I am hoping that we'll increase our focus on youth and education and outreach. Andrew mentioned a couple things that were new with the exploring post and the career shadowing program. I don't know, how many employees do we have in peak in the winter? 185 or so. So we really need to get some people thinking about this is a great place to work. So I hope that program will help us do that. The exploring post. And then this year at sometime in our past, we had a youth education outreach committee, and we're going to reinstitute and bring that committee back on board. It's an ad hoc group, but just to kind of look at what we're doing and how we're doing and working with staff to see what we can do to expand our opportunities there. Andrew mentioned the uphill policy. I think that was one of our big challenges this year. This is a really fast growing sport. It's a really fun thing. I think we've got at least 5 people on this board that are uphillers as well, myself included, and I really enjoy the backcountry and uphilling. But it got to the point, and we've always enjoyed the uphillers, quite a bit of access to the skier, but in the last few years, we've had so many more users that maybe don't understand the sport as much, and we've had too many close calls and safety issues working with and around the groomers and unsafe slope conditions. So we really felt, we'd been talking about it for a few years, and the mountain staff looked at it and developed a policy this last year. It was a challenge, it was a little bit of a rough start to kind of get that implemented, but we really needed to do that. We'll need to continue with that policy. We'll continue to work with folks. A lot of the uphill community weren't happy with the increased sideboards and less slope availability, but we really have to focus on the safety of the work environment and the users out there. But we will continue the dialogue and continue to talk about the policy and uphill opportunities, but ensuring a safe work environment still got to be our top priority. So the third area that I'm excited about is to continue to build a successful 4 seasons program. We've done some consultant work in the past to kind of examine what our landscape opportunities might be. And I think we're gonna, we kind of set that aside for a little bit as we focused on our winter operations. And the last couple of years, we've kind of dipped our toe in a few of the easier, low risk, low expenditure summer use activities to see how that went. And I think, our goal at first was to break even, and I think we've done pretty well with that. And I think we're ready to stretch a little bit and explore a little further what kinds of uses would be great to have on the mountain. The reasons why we like to build the program is it supports our financial stability. It expands for year-round employment for opportunities for our employees. And it supports our goals of providing outdoor experience in the alpine environment for youth, for the community, and that sort of thing. We had great success with the summer youth camps. We had some nice family activities, and we hope to see those programs go. So we'll see where we go with that. The fourth area that I had on my list, and again, Andrew mentioned some of the specifics, is taking care of our employees. We have great employees at Mount Ashland. Always a smile, always enthusiastic. You go to a lot of other skiers and they just can't wait till you get on the lift or they get their break and they get to go get their ride. But I really feel when I come home to Mount Ashland, the employees here just really love working there. They love the mountain like we love the mountain. And so we want to, we are nonprofits, so we're not there to make a lot of money. We're there to enjoy the sport and be there, provide the opportunities for the community, and our employees are very important to us. So Andrew mentioned a couple things about providing more specialized training and skill development, which I think it's been great. We've been upgrading the resources that the employees need for success with, I think internet was one of the big ones we're working on. And we've been reviewing hiring and retention challenges. It's a pretty competitive workplace market out there. And I was really pleased that the Mountain did some pay equity analysis, looking at the industry in the Northwest and how we pay our employees versus how that looks in the rest of the Northwest for skiers our size. And as Andrew mentioned, we increased our average wage by almost 8% this year, in part due to that, and in part because we just got good employees and they deserve it, right? And I think I mentioned Four Seasons provides more year-round employment. So those are the 4 areas, and I'm going to stick with those for this coming year and see where else we go with that. I'm excited. It's a very exciting time for Mount Ashland. I appreciate all the work done by this board and your committees. We've got community members also on the committees, which I really appreciate all the volunteer efforts from the board and the committee folks. And a lot of sponsors, a lot of businesses that provide a lot of support to us in our projects and their expertise or in kind or financial donations. So we really appreciate that. Everyone's work has really been outstanding. We cannot make the upgrades and improvements without the generous donations of time and talent and financial support provided by many of you folks and the community members and businesses. So I just want to say thank you to everyone on that front. I know everyone who's here and everyone who's signed in, everyone at the table and everyone on our committees, we love Mount Ashland. It's our favorite place to be, and we all will work together to continue to ensure its success and provide the best alpine experience for now and in the future. All right, that's the end of the report. All righty. Okay, let's talk about the finances. We've got Valerie Williams.
Okay, so Finance Committee, we're made up of members from the community and members from the board that have a diverse background in finance and accounting. Right now we have 3 community members, and 4 board members on the committee. We meet once a month. Also joining us is Andrew and Tanya, our accounting person and accounting manager, and any other staff that is beneficial to us. Emily is a constant person who checks in with us on a regular basis. So the staff and the committee work together very closely to do what we need to do. Our responsibilities on the board, probably the number one is to monitor the finances of the organization and to present a report to the board monthly to let the whole board know how things are going financially with the mountain. Another is to review our financial policies and make sure that and to review them, understand them, and then work with staff to determine if any changes need to be made, and then present that to the board to get those changes enacted. We also hire an accounting firm to review our financial statements annually and to prepare the reports for the IRS in the state of Oregon. And then the other thing that's a little more nebulous is we act as a sounding board for the staff. With the expertise on the board, we can brainstorm ideas. For example, looking at long-term financial planning, but whatever comes up, the finance committee is there to help staff do their work. I said we have committee or community members. So if anyone wants to be on the finance committee, right now we've got a pretty full committee, but please contact Mount Ashland office and leave your name and contact information if you're interested in being on the finance committee. We'd love to have a list of people who are interested when there are openings. So getting to the money piece of it. probably most of you received a flyer, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's got some pie charts showing income and expenses. And if you didn't get one of these and you want to, contact the office and they can get it to you. I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but basically, our operating revenue, where does it come from? 66% comes from tickets, season passes, that kind of stuff. 13% comes from food and beverage. Thank you for the bar and burgers that you buy. And then 8% from rentals. So that makes up, you know, the lion's share of our income. And then where does that go? 41% goes to what we'll call operations, which is primarily the wages for the lodge and lift staff, and repairs and maintenance on the lodges and our lift infrastructure. 26% is administrative. Now, that includes more than just Andrew's salary. That is the whole marketing department, the whole development department and their expenses, the whole human resource department and their expenses, and the finance department and their expenses. This whole support structure, which makes the operations work. And then we just love this, insurance is 8% of our expenses, so it's no small potato. So when we say we're talking about safety, that's the piece of it. We love our employees. We don't want anybody hurt. We love our patrons. We don't want anybody hurt. And we don't want to write any bigger insurance check than we have to. This year, as Andrew mentioned, December didn't happen for us. And for any ski area, that's a big hit. But thanks to the support of the community, not only were we able to do all of those capital projects that Andrew mentioned, but we were able to come out in the black at the end of the year. So a big thank you to the community, all of you out there, for everything that you've done to help us out.
And Valerie, that report is available on the nonprofit page on the website.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Good, thanks, Valerie. All right, we'll get into our committee reports, and we'll start with the environmental sustainability environment report from Ray Millett.
Yes, hi. The Environmental and Sustainability Committee provides technical expertise and leadership to the board of directors and staff as a means to promote and support operational sustainability, environmental education, ecosystem stewardship, and restoration. One of the big things, and we had 10 members, of which we had 5 staff. And recently Andrew has added a couple more staff, so we're serious about operations sustainability on the mountain. We have 3 board members and 2 from the community. We spent a lot of last year and the year before doing Stoke recertification. Maybe some of you have seen that on our website, because in 2017, Mount Ashland was the first ski area to be Stoke certified, which is a third-party sustainability certification. There's 153 metrics that went down. And you're supposed to be recertified every 2 to 3 years, which would have been about 2020, because remember, was when COVID happened. So that was delayed. So we got back into it, looking at our metrics again in 22 and 23. And the Stoke team came out and met with us in March and went through looking at a lot of our operations and looked at a lot of the data that we had put to their website. And in fact, I just sent them the last data 2 weeks ago. They look at basically 8 areas. And I'm happy to report that they told us we're going to be recertified, and they're going through the data to see if we're really close to meeting the next level. So they're certified, and they're certified sustainable. And then there's another one after that. So I hope to hear by the end of the month which level we'll be at, but we will be recertified. The other thing we looked at was energy. And so this last year was the first year we had the heating controls in the lodge. Maybe some of you noticed it got quite warm at times, especially if you were dancing. So Emily's been working on trying to fine tune that program. And one of our goals we want to do next year is review our power consumption against 2 years prior baseline to see what savings we would have had. The other thing for energy is we had our solar production, so we created about 30 megawatt hours of solar off our system, which is about 15% of our annual lodge usage. So what we're looking for, if we do some future build projects, is adding additional solar. We'd like to get another 15 or 20% out of that. So that's 30 megawatt hours. The lodge uses about 200 annually. And then we have, overall, the ski area uses about 400, which includes the lifts and the lights. So another energy thing that Andrew talked about was adding LED slope lighting. And I'm happy to report that at the end of September, we did finally get the paperwork all approved to get incentive from Energy Trust of Oregon. That'll go towards basically paying for the bulbs, about covers that amount. So that was good news. There was quite a competition, people running to get all their incentives into ETO before the end of September. We have an EV car charger. We had about 200 sessions. That was about 2.5 megawatt hours that we gave away free to people driving up at this time. And we saved about 2 metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions with that. A couple of other things that Andrew may have mentioned in terms of reducing our greenhouse gas emissions was adding a commuter van. We hope to increase that in the following year, but as Andrew said, we've got to look at the logistics and financials of that. In addition to that, we have a second van. This was also our first season with 2 new pre-knock groomers, which had 50% less diesel emissions than our previous ones. Looking at sustainability, we're working to engage with SUU next year. We did a slope cleanup project with them, and we do some education. And we're looking to get involved with some of the students in the capstone project to help us baseline and look for improvements at overall sustainability and energy usage and water and waste that we use at the lodge. The other thing is we're looking at other ski areas and their sustainability sites. We need to revamp our website, so we'll be working on that for next year. In addition to applying for some sustainability grants for all the good work that we've done.
Thanks, Ray. All right, let's go to development with Blair Moody.
We have a development committee consisting of both board and community volunteers, and we're also always looking for volunteers. Our number one job is to raise money for all the other activities, including youth activities, after ski programs, and projects that the board has considered and wants to get done. We had a successful end of the year campaign to raise money for the Youth Snow Sports Dome and the Poet Rope Tow. We completed the night lighting and funding for that for our current night lighting areas. And we have been very successful in raising money through grants and contributions for the local youth programs serving the greater community. And we couldn't have done this without the contributions from you, the community, and those grants that we have obtained. And we gratefully and sincerely appreciate that. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, we really, thanks to Tiffany and Blair and that committee's work, we've really done well with that this year. And the development is really definitely a place where we'd love to see some more community members on our committee. So be sure and let us know if you're interested in that. And I would point out one other thing too. We raised enough money to put in replace the existing night lights, but if we get some more money, we really do see some opportunity to add some additional lighting out there. And I think that would really benefit the mountain. So make that plug. All right, let's go to facilities and planning. I think Alan Purdy's got the report.
My name's Alan Purdy, and I'm one of the co-chairs of the facilities committee. We currently have 4 board members and 5 community members on our board or our committee. And our community members include electrical subcontractors, general contractors, structural engineers, retired National Forest Service employees, and land use planning consultants. So we have got some really good input for things that are required up at the mountain. The facility committee is especially thankful to the Mount Ashland staff for implementing all these projects and managing them once we roll them out, big and small projects. In addition, our facilities committee is, well, I got that there. Our job description is the main role is to work with staff to define the capital projects identified during our strategic planning meetings and annually during the ski season. The second role is to assist in implementing the required capital projects. And the third is to reevaluate the identified capital projects annually. Most of the projects that we worked on this summer, Andrew already covered. Some projects that we have in planning that we're still working on are a snow shelter for the youth season or youth lessons, rope tow for the terrain park, expanding the night lighting to additional runs, and some expanded parking areas. Thank you.
Great. All right, the ad hoc Four Seasons Committee, we've got Riley McGraw.
Thanks to this ad hoc committee consists of 2 board members and 3 community members at the moment. We're still attempting to define the kind of the long-term vision and role of the committee, but primarily we get together with Andrew and come up with ideas about how to utilize the mountain during the summer months, and how to balance that with the level of staffing and financial assistance that's available to facilitate those activities. So I won't recap what happened this summer, but we're sort of dipping our toe at the moment. But certainly the long-term goal is to have a robust list and activities that can kind of keep the mountain going throughout the summer months, and also provide an opportunity to retain employees that can have a job at Mount Ashland for 12 months out of the year.
All right, we'll move to governance. Annie Jenkins.
Our main role of governance is to develop best practices in board recruitment, board diversity, board engagement, and board effectiveness. We have 3 board members on the committee, and soon to add 1 more board member. And one of the things, I'm not going to give a committee report. I'm actually just going to go into voting. Is what I'm going to do. So where I'm going to start is we are going to elect 2 new board members, Jane Andrianova, as well as Brian Beatty. And I'm just going to give a quick bio on each of them. Jane was born and raised in Moscow, Russia. She moved to the US at the age of 18. She started skiing at a very young age. She has a bachelor's in accounting and obtained her CPA in 2011. She moved to Ashland in 2019, and she serves on the Environmental Committee and Sustainability Committee, Finance, and she is a part of the MAA Master's Program, and she loves hiking and being in the nature. Brian was born in Texas. He was raised in Texas, South Carolina, Europe, Colorado, and back to Texas. He moved to the Rogue Valley in 1992. He's been skiing since the age of 14. Him and his wife raised their children in the Rogue Valley and up the Mount Ashland. He works as the Director of Operations at Croman Corp. And Brian and his wife have been very involved with Mount Ashland over the past 20 years. And he loves the outdoors and is looking forward to serving they are both looking forward to serving on the board. So with that, I would look for a motion.
So
Second.
okay, we have a motion and a second from Kurt. Any questions, comments, discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. We have 2 new.
Nope.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just late to saying aye.
Thanks.
Next, we're going to reinstate for 1 year Valerie Williams and Ray Millette. I would look for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Adam,
Second from
that's
Adam.
the second.
Comments, questions? All right, call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Adam.
It was,
To reinstate, but to reinstate.
was Blair and Adam.
No. Back up. The question is, who is being reinstated for a year? It was Ray and Val.
Sorry.
The motion was Blair and Adam. Sorry. No, that's good.
Okay, the third thing we're gonna do is approve the officers for 2024, 2025. President will be Mary Smeltzer, incoming president will be Adam Reese. Past president will be Kurt Burrell, treasurer Valerie Williams, and secretary Annie Jenkins. I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Blair and Kurt.
And Kurt.
Questions, comments? Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
And lastly, we are going to do committee chairs. Facilities and planning co-chairs will be Brian Dunnigan and Alan Purdy. Youth and education and outreach will be Catherine Keto. Environmental and sustainability, Ray Millette. Four Seasons, Riley McGraw. Executive committee, Mary Smeltzer. Finance, Valerie Williams. Development, Blair Moody. And governance, Annie Jenkins. I'll look for a motion.
All motion.
Alan Purdy and Ray.
here's a second. Comments, questions, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? All right, great.
And there.
Can't oppose a nomination. You're unanimously voted in. Your vote is, you've been outnumbered. Okay, great. Really appreciate all the work and effort, and I do want to encourage, again, all of the folks who have signed in, you or your friends or others, if you're interested to be on one of the committees, send an email to their, I think your agenda has an info@Mount Ashland. You can submit it there and we'll catch your name. We also have a board member, it's called boardmember@mountashland.com. That is a email that myself, Kurt, Andrew, we kind of monitor that, and not always, I don't do it every day, but if you ever have some comments or questions or things you want to address to the board, we try not to get involved in the daily operations of the mountain. That's not really our role, but you're welcome to send us an email if you have something that's appropriate to go to the board. All right, so at this time, I guess we will check in to see if there's any questions or people who want to speak. Gabby, do you have any questions that have come in through the chat box?
I currently do not.
Do not. You filled up.
They can raise their little hands too.
You could raise a hand. Any pre-identified folks want to speak? Your chance to tell us what's on your mind or ask a clarifying question or anything for anyone visiting today. Good. Okay. If there are none, I'm going to give you 30 seconds here. Guys, any other general comments that any of you want to make while they're thinking about what they want to ask about? Halloween.
I'm ready for the haunting.
Oh, well, we need volunteers.
Yes.
Let's make a pitch.
Gabby, do you want me to do this or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. For anyone that's on our call today, we need more volunteers for the haunting event this weekend. The sign up, if you are interested, go ahead and view our website online there. You can have a volunteer sign up form. You please submit that with us. We can get you signed up. Yeah, we need lots of volunteers. It's the only way to get a ticket to the event. You get a free ticket if you volunteer.
Can you describe what volunteering is?
It could be, you could be a scare volunteer and you could be at one of the actual sites and scaring the people the guests and stuff that are passing by the trail. Or you could be in the lodge with me hanging out and looking at kids' activities, helping with food, ticketing, getting everyone in the video screening to watch a safety kind of onboarding video before they go out to the lift, things like that. Yeah.
Right. Okay, anyone else have any comments or questions for the board? So were there any questions that you guys have heard before the meeting that we might want to address? Okay. All right, well, hearing none, I'm going to close the public session. We've got a little bit of other board business to work on. And I want to thank you all for being here. Oh, wait, here's one.
We do have one.
Wondering if an alternative site has been considered for the Beacon Park. There you go, Andrew, what do you got?
Yep, right now, I think what we're looking at is there's a little triangle of real estate in between aisle 1 and aisle 2, just below the lodge. In between aisle 1, aisle 2 and Juliet, there's a little triangle, and that's kind of where we're looking, I think, right now. But that's going to be a discussion with Mike Lancaster, who's our nurse ski patrol director, and Doug Volk and a couple other folks once we start to get some snow on the ground to get a good feel for that.
Good question. Anything else on your mind? Okay, I want to thank you all for being here and looking forward to seeing you on the mountain. Oh, snow's coming this week. Right?
Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, 1 to 3 inches. I'm hopeful. All right, all right. Yeah, we have time for one more. Oh, post some photos of the aisle 2 widening. Yeah.
That project is almost done, and I think we'll post some good pictures as soon as it's complete here in a couple weeks.
It's basically adding another road.
Yeah, essentially it'll be a 2-lane road instead of a single lane is what it'll look like.
Good question.
Hauled a lot of dirt for that.
A lot.
That's going to be really exciting to have that widened out. It's just going to be so much better. Right. Thank you all. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
All right.